This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So last session, we were discussing about how do we I think Azure DevOps were actually right. I mean, Azure DevOps in the sense, mostly we're talking about the Terraform pipelines. Let me take a look. Where were we? So pipelines, releases, I think, yeah, so front end and then ALB. Okay, let me open the Lucida chart. Okay, I think we're doing this. Yeah. So we're actually trying to complete the front end, and after the front end, we're actually trying to in the process of creating the load balancers. All right. So let me go on just quickly run the pipeline, and let's see. So let it create first, and then we'll see whether those pieces are working or not. Also, let me open the code in the meantime. Yeah. Cool. The VPC part is done, so it will go with the front end and then LB. So since ours is a lab, basically we're just running all in a single shot. But in organization, so we don't need to really do this. So one by if once VPC is set up, we don't need to destroy all the time. So just to save the cost, we're actually following these standards. All right. So otherwise, it will just run all the time. Yeah. Yeah. This is also done. And if you go to the pipeline, so you will see the LB part. All right, so I can just go to the load balancers now. I should see one load balancer. So already active. So we'll just go here. Connection. So it's still not coming. Okay, so it's still coming up or might be. So let it be. But it's saying it is active. That's okay. And but it is giving connection refused. So okay, so it's not giving any kind of a DNS error. It's giving connection refused. Okay, connection refused means you go into the listeners. There is a listener also. Okay, so and it's actually forwarding the AT traffic to dev target group. And if I go to the dev target group and if I go into the targets, so this is unused. Okay, so that is the reason you're getting it. But how come it is unused? Because it's already pointing to so there is a slight configuration problems which are actually making it up. Okay, so now what you're actually getting it up. Okay, so where is this instance is actually coming up in? The instance is actually coming up in US East 1F. Okay, but what are we choosing as per our diagram? So if you just take a look or VPC design, so we're going to choose availability zone 1 and availability zone 2. Okay, so first of all, so why this instance came in 1F? Basically I need to validate this. So this is something wrong actually which went in my code. Okay, or in our approach we did something wrong. Okay, so let me find it out. Okay, go there and go to the subnets. So the two subnets which we created, the private subnets. So one is in 1F and 1C. So this is not expected. This is not what I designed basically. So there is something wrong. All right. So let's find it out. Let's find it out. Okay, how do we fix this basically? Okay, so how do I do this? How do I do this? This subnet is actually randomly going somewhere, and so which I want to choose a particular availability zones. Okay, so that thing I have to fix in my code. Okay, so first of all, in order to do that, I have to delete these things again. Okay, so I have to delete this load balancer, and I have to go to the auto scaling group and delete the auto scaling group first. All I need to delete this. So because these all choosing the so let it delete as well, and I'll go to target groups. So target group is also deleted. Let's come to the what I clicked. Okay, there are not auto scaling groups. And what else we created? Load balancer, I deleted that as well. All right. Yeah. Okay, cool. And And yeah, now let me go to so the VPC part, and in the VPC I'll go to the and I'll go with the delete VPC. So here I have peering connection also getting established, I think. Yeah, so delete everything. I'm just deleting. Okay, or even I have a pipeline also. I forget about this. I have a pipeline of destroying everything. So we just do the Terraform destroy part. So I'll just click on create a release. It will destroy everything. Okay, so even the VPC part as well. Why ALB is a failure? Terraform. Why? Listener not found. Okay, I deleted it manually. That's okay. So, but I'll just go with, I am actually more interested on the VPC one, but I'll just go with front and also once. Let's see. So since the pipeline is a failure, okay, it didn't move on to the next step manually. I clicked on the next step, running it manually. So that's what I have done. Okay, and so the VPC is also getting destroyed. Now, in the meantime, let's go to the code. So where we went did or what we did wrong, basically. I will just go with subnets. So vpc.tf. Yeah, you're creating private subnets, you're creating public subnets. Now we have to choose that, so availability zone. Okay, which availability zone I have to choose? So you have to tell. All right, but how do you get this availability zone? And I don't want to hard code the code as EOC is to 1. So because tomorrow it can be some EOC is to 1. EOC is to 1, which is denoting the North Virginia region, right? So you just come here, the North Virginia is denoting this one. So tomorrow my code, I want to run it on let's say Oregon. Everything has to work. Okay, so is as expected mostly. All right. So that is where I don't want to hard code the code also here. And also this also is running on the count basically. And two subnets, I don't want to put it on the same availability same availability zone. So that is where I want to pick it up with something here by using data. Okay, so now wherever I'm running, I'm just going to do this. So data, so which is available, which is AWS underscore availability zones. Okay, so okay, I'm going to get the I'm going to create the list of availability zones, okay, and I'm going to provide that particular this particular data, right? So availability zones data Terraform. If I just go there, you'll find out the attributes. So what all it is actually, exposing the information is actually giving the ID, so, okay, or availability zone name, okay. So I think this is what I'm looking for, names, the list of availability zone names available to that particular account. Okay, let me go and try to put this. So here abc.ef availability zone and element of for data dot availability zones dot names, and it goes as count dot index. So I want to be ensuring that the availability zones I choose is basically it has to be common. Okay, so since my public subnets and private subnets should be in the same availability zones, otherwise my load balancing will not work. Okay, the load balancing part which we talked about earlier. So where is this diagram? So your public load balancer is in different availability zones, your servers are in different availability zones. It cannot actually so pull the code, basically it will not work, or it will not pull the service basically, so which is a public load balancer. So that's where it is failing, and to correct it I came to the subnets. I found out the subnets is being created in different um, is being created in different availability zones, and I'm just clearing it up. Okay, so now if my okay, so if my public subnet is created in two availability zones, and the same two availability zones I want to choose for my private as well. So that is the thumb rule you have to make in picture here, otherwise it will not work. Okay, so that's how you have it here. All right, and yeah, let's move on to the Terraform apply once again after the destroy. So the VPC is still destroying. I don't know what is the reason it's not happening. Let me take a look. So there is a security group which is in use. I go to the security group. Who is using this? No, it's all will be deleted. That's fine. It's deleting anyhow. All right. Now I go to the VPC and I will create the VPC. Did I push the code? Yeah, it automatically creates. Fine. Now the subnets are created. Let's go and cross verify now. So if the private subnets is in 1A, 1B, it has to be in 1A, 1B. And if my code has chosen something else, so it has to be in same. Okay, now you see this 1A, 1B, 1A, 1B. Then only now the things will work. Okay, otherwise it will not work. So this is a correction we found out. Okay, that's fine. Let's go back and let's go back and create the remaining things as well. So let it complete. Cool. So the VPC part is done now. Now I can go to front end and create a release. AMI is not needed. Just do the dev deployment. And then followed with load balancer. Then after the load balancer is created, if I open it, I should be seeing the RoboShop web page. That's the goal. And we should not do anything manually. So everything coming as code. I'm applying the code and we're getting applying the code and the things are getting created. Okay. And the scope is everything is automated. Cool. Front end is done. So I'll go to LB part. Quickly create this as well. All right, cool. So now let's go to the again to the load balancers, and you go here, listeners, and you go to the target group. Let's open the target group. The target group, previously it was saying not in use, now it is showing it is healthy. So that means if I just go and take this and put it here, and so you will identify, you will get the RoboShop application. So might be all the pieces are not working, but at least the UI you should see. Okay, so try to refresh. Yeah, you're seeing that particular code. You're getting over the load balancer, right? So the server is in the private subnet, and the load balancer is on the public subnet, and so still you are able to achieve this. All right, so this is how okay, so yeah, this is how we actually okay, so do that particular part. So now let's go back to the diagram. So now we need to start doing the things. So here, until here we already discussed, and the things were there. Just to recall, this took this much time, and come to the load balancer. And in this particular load balancer, so this is going to be a private load balancer. So in the load balancer stack, we wanted to create this particular part as well. So if I just go to the VPC ALB, so now you're making the load balancer public ALB. Now the same way, I need to make the private load balancer as well. Okay, so let me copy this and paste it and put it as private ALB.tf. Now the private ALB, so should be making it under private subnets, right? So project subnet underscore private hyphen ALB, and so this is internal is false, and this is application, and so the security group is allow all public to allow all public. No, we don't want to allow all to public. No, it's actually goes to be only under VPC only. So that becomes private. That becomes private. That becomes private. Okay, and also it actually goes under so the VPC CIDR only under the VPC. Okay, so dot VPC underscore CIDR. All right, this much you created, and after that it comes to it is creating under it's not public anymore, actually private.id. And so the subnets also is actually under public subnets. No, this also has to be under private subnets. Okay, so private subnets, and this is actually going to be private -lb. Okay, this much. And then when it comes to the listeners is I will say there's a default listener, I'll make it. And so this is private, and I want to put the AD and HTTP, and the default action, I don't want to forward it to any target group. The default message, I want to give something like okay, because I already shown you. So we are going to write some rules inside this. We're going to write some rules inside this particular load balancer. So a lot of rules we're going to make it. If I make one rule, it has to go to one service. If I make another rule, it has to go to another service. Okay, how do I make the rules? We'll see, we'll take a look. But until then, here it is. And here it is. Where is this? Yeah, here it is. And yeah, and over here I want to send a static content. The default action I would like to do here is send a fixed response. Okay, a fixed response I want to send, and the fixed response is also something like, okay, or something like that. Okay, so okay, that's fine. And the response code also I want to send it is 200. This much I want to create on the private load balancer. All right, so let's see now. I will go to the LB, and if I just click on create a new release, let's see, a new load balancer will be created, but it has to be a private. It has to be under private subnets, and the default response it should be giving is a okay message. Okay, and on top of that, I'm going to build up the rules now. Okay, so how do we make that? We'll see. So if you take a private load balancer, and it is actually under 1A and 1B. But if I open this particular subnet, it has to be a private one. Let's take a look. It's a private one. Perfect. All right. So the next thing is I want to validate is the listeners. And if I go to the listeners, it has to respond a 200 response. Okay. And second thing, if I go to the security group of this one, so it should be allowing only internal, not the private. Okay. Sorry, not the public one. It has to be a private one. So that means it has to go with internal. Okay. So and inbound rule, so it it's actually giving the VPC only. Inside the VPC only it will work, outside the VPC it will not work. Okay, and that's the idea. And I think all good now. Now what we need to do is we just need to so go with the remaining components here, and the remaining components is my catalog, card, and these particular components. And these particular components okay, so this load balancer should route the traffic to this particular list of servers. And how to do that, we'll see that particular part today. All right, now I'll just go and say that and I'll just go and say here I want to send out some outputs basically. So or yeah, and I want to send the outputs.tf because if I create a load balancer here, I'll be attaching a target group. Okay, and the target group requires what? And the target group I want to attach, I am just thinking. So while you create the front end, or while you create the public ALB, so what we are actually making is a listener here. That's okay. And when it comes to the front end, so what all I have done. ASG.tf, so I created this is okay, and it is actually calling the ASG module. Okay, if I go into the ASG and if I say that ASG.tf, so what all I'm creating here, so auto scaling group and auto scaling template group and target group I'm creating. And to create a target group, so you don't require port and all is fine. I think this is okay. I think this is okay. So now what I wanted to do here is I just want to go with other component. So what is the other component I want to make it here is first I will go with the catalog one and I'll see. I'll just go to the here repos and new repository and I will say Terraform hyphen catalog. Okay, so all right, I'll just delete this now, catalog. And in the catalog, what all you do require? So you require backend, you require environment, you require ASG, you require, I think, make file, you require outputs also, you require providers, you require state file, you require bash.tf. All files are needed. Okay, cool. And now you have backend.tf batch, and the dev it is actually telling is basically it's catalog dev terraform state file. Okay, prod also it's basically catalog. Okay, done. And in the environment variables you are given this as catalog now. Okay, and asg.tf, so now you are calling module asg and the call is the same module var.component var.instance type bucket region, and actually the port of our catalog application is going to be 8080 port. Okay, so which you are going to send the information to, put it to 8080, and health actually is actually going to be in /health, and that code actually works with /health, not slash. All right, so this is for target group to do the health check. All right, done. And make file, it's all same, nothing to modify. Outputs.tf, so front end outputs.tf, I don't think so you do require anything. Provider.tf is still same, and state file is still same. vas.tf is still same. So now let's go and push this code. and let's run and see. So I will go here, pipelines, releases, and there is a front end. I will just clone this because as is, and I require AMI for this, of course, and this is not a front end. Actually, we do require delete this and add is 53 actually going to be rs terraform hyphen catalog code. I want to make it, and from the main and add this. And Terraform, if I go inside the dev, and if I go with agent job, not here, here, not here, Terraform apply, I have to have it inside Terraform catalog. So this is under AMI only. All right, but this AMI is going to be making it, and this is okay. Script, this is fine. Variables. How it is going to make the now there is a problem is going to come up now. Let's see. Now if I create the create release of this one, okay, let's make the AMI, and AMI is going to tell you edit this, and I'll name it as catalog. Now why the AMI is going to be a failure? Let's see. In the AMI we are actually going to instance.ef, so we are particularly naming that AMI as var.component, and that var.component is actually here only. You see this here, no, catalog, click on edit, go here, and here I think environment variables we have given. Here I have to modify it actually has to be catalog. Now what is actually it's going to do now, it's actually going to build the front end only. Okay, so because previously you ran with front end variable because you copied the code. Okay, so it just launches with front end only, another AMI with front end. But if I stop this also, it will cause a problem. So let it, for now, let it run. We'll see. Hope everyone is able to follow what I'm trying to do, right? Is there any questions, confusions there? What we're trying to achieve?
So Raghu, I mean, each component is going through its own pipeline. I mean, I know we talked about this in the beginning of Terraform, but in the middle, I think I got lost. But looks like each component is going through its own pipeline.
Exactly. That's how the microservice world works, basically. Yeah. So every component will have its own, so pipelines. Yeah, now you see this, it's actually building an AMI, and the AMI is telling that the front end name, I mean the name front end is already in use. Okay, so the first thing basically, so that if the AMI, if the AMI already exists, okay, it has to create a new AMI. It should not fail saying that the AMI is actually not there. So I need to versionize this particular one as well. Okay, I need to kind of put a version to this. So this particular topic we'll talk about a bit later, but for now the AMI is is already there and it is not able to create it. Okay, but I'll just go with the catalog and let's go and do another release, and another release should work as expected. Okay, so if I go to the bash script And the bash script also, it should be running Nginx installation and everything. Okay, so I don't want to. It's already destroyed also. All right, cool. So now the next thing which I'm going to do is I'll just make a create a release because I edited it and I given the proper variable name now. Okay, the environment variable previously was a front end. It was trying to create a front end one, and now actually I'm making it as catalog. It will create a catalog AMI. So no problem with that. So let's wait for now. Let it install and let it install and let it make the AMI. So even if I try to show you the sorry, some of my working project, basically, if you see here, so I have services. Basically, this is releases, by the way, right? So this is releases. So here also we're using Azure DevOps, so I can show it easily. So now here I see this, all the pipelines. So these are all the microservices, and every microservice is having its own pipeline. So it will say that it is actually trying to, dev to deploy to QA, deployment to pre-prod, and then finally it goes to the production, right? So we are also trying to achieve the same thing with, so with multi-environment as well as, right? So here you have environments. So yeah, so in real time you'll be having multiple environments. So probably in the lab we're actually going with only the 2 environments. Our pipeline you'll see all the time the 2 stages. And yeah, so the release over there is not having an AMI. Why? Because the AMI is actually for a server, basically, right? So a service running inside a server, but those components are microservices. Microservices, and those are running inside container world. Okay, so not the server level. So that's where you don't see the AMI part. But on the same place, actually, I can show other. I think that's also outdated, but yeah. So if it is deploying on, if any services are deploying on the server, I'll make the AMI and I do that. Okay. So that's how we are actually doing it now, right now. So first we are actually dealing with the servers. We are going with that particular one for now. So you require an AMI. So once you go into the container world, so probably AMI is not really needed. You require some Docker image or something like that. You build the Docker image, and that Docker image comes out of the Docker image comes out of what we call CI pipeline. Okay, so CI, we'll see that later. But for now, this is scope. This is okay. The AMI is getting created, so you can see for now catalog AMI is getting created. The MI making will take almost an average of 3 to 4 minutes.
So, Raghu, I mean, how do we maintain the integrity of each of those environments, right? Dev will obviously be less locked down than QA, which will obviously be less locked down than prod. How do we maintain the integrity of each of the environment?
What you are saying, lockdown? What is that?
Locked down, less. Dev will be less locked than QA, which will be less locked than production. I guess I'm just trying to understand the mapping of the pipeline versus environment, right? I know where I'm getting.
So, yeah, probably you can hold your question for a couple of more days because you're still seeing a single environment and we're just trying to build the blocks, and those are not really ready for the multi-environment, I would say. Yeah. Okay. So, and ultimately when we talk about the multi-environment, so probably you will see the integrity, like, so on the dev, how only the, the dev code coming, and on the prod, how actually the prod code would be coming up. So we'll see that. Yeah.
But then in your Terraform folder construct, you've got development and production folder, right?
Yeah. So it's a simple state file, right? So you're actually saying, so my state file should go into the prod and something like that. And here in the environment, so basically, so you are going to differentiate between the environments by using this keyboard. So you'll be having a -dev for dev and dev instances, -prod for prod instances. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so the next thing, I think the MI is going on. Yeah, cool. I'm actually deploying the catalog application. So let's see, catalog component. Now the catalog component will come, and the catalog should, catalog should register its information inside this load balancer. So that's what it has to do. If we go to here, and if we go to here, the catalog is getting created, and its information, it has to get registered inside this load balancer. Okay, how to do that? So we'll see that. Okay, but for now this is okay, let it happen. In the load balancer, how it can register itself. Cool. And so now if you just go to the auto scaling groups, so you will see, yeah, so catalog and instances, you will see another instance coming up. All right. So, and the second and the first thing, so which I want to do is, so this I actually should create a target group, and this target group is also created, which is fine, and it's 8080 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's 8080, and now this has to get added to the load balancer. Okay, how do you attach this to the load balancer? So that information I should be taking care now. So this target group, and if I go to the ASG and output.ef, it's actually sending out the target group information which it is created. Okay, so now what I have to do is I have to come to the catalog component, and I want to say that after creating the auto scaling group, so what I want to say is I want to create a resource AWS underscore LB underscore listener, a rule. I want to make a rule basically, and this rule is a catalog rule, and the rule listener ARN. Listener ARN is what is listener ARN? Listener ARN is the load balancer ARN, if I'm not wrong. But let's take this. No, listener ARN is the listener which is created here. So that means which is coming from ALB. So what is the listener private ALB.tf? So this is the listener ARN. I want to send this information as an output basically here. So output and so which is private underscore ALB underscore listener underscore ARN. Okay, so what is the one? So which is AWS underscore listener dot default dot ARN. I want to grab this information. All right. So, and in order to grab this information, I need to put this information in data. Okay. So that's where I will go and say this data.tf, put it here. And in this data.tf, so we are actually making AMI. AMI is not needed. So you can go to the VPC, not VPC. This is now to the ALB. Okay. So you're actually reading the information of ALB. If I'm not wrong, let's look into the data.tf as it's ALB. Okay. So you're reading the information of ALB. Okay. And you're going to put that information here. Now data.remove state file dot ALB dot outputs dot. So what is the output we are actually putting that up? Okay. This is the output. Okay. First thing, action. What is the action? What I wanted to do? Listener rule. Okay. Terraform. And what I wanted to do action. So which is forward to a target group. Okay. So type equal to forward. Okay. And target group is equal to, what is the target group? So the target group could be coming from module dot asg dot what is this module actually sending the information? Module output.ef is actually going to be tg underscore arn. Is it arn only? Yes, it is arn. All right, so cool is the one. Okay, so condition for now it is empty, so I had to make a condition saying that if condition host header is something like this. Okay, so condition header is if any request is coming up as a catalog hyphen dev dot DevOps B 53.tk. If any request is coming up as a catalog hyphen dev dot DevOps B 53.tk, or in fact even this dev is a variable, so I'll just make it as so var dot env also. Okay, so if any request is coming in this way, so you do that. Okay, so these are the changes which I want to make it. Now I would like to go ahead and so run the appropriate pipelines. Now I need to run the ALB because there are some outputs added to the ALB. So first I have to create the release of this one. So let it add the outputs to the state file first. So it added the output now. All right. And I will go to and I'll go to the next one, so which is catalog, and I'll just click on create a release. AMI is not needed. Edit, deploy it. Okay, cool. So that means actually what it has done, it would have created one target group. It would have created one rule. Let's see. In over here, I'll just go to the load balancers and I'll go to the private load balancer listeners. Now you are edit rules, and this is the rule. This is what is I'm expecting. Catalog hyphen dev.devops p53.tk. So, but before to that, even this DNS record should be there, right? This DNS record should be there. So how do we create this DNS record? All right. So that also I will try to put that as a part of this one. But how to do that, probably we can take a look in tomorrow's session. So and in tomorrow, we'll try to run all these particular components. We'll try to run all these particular components and its auto scaling groups. Okay. And yeah, so we can take care of that in no, so the DNS part, so the DNS also should be created, and if any request is actually coming to this particular application load balancer with that particular DNS name, it has to so it has to reach to that appropriate target group. Okay, so that's the idea basically. All right. And yeah, I think we can stop here, but before do that, let me create some pipelines and let the components get ready automatically by tomorrow over here. So today you ran catalog, right? So let me just clone this and say this as for cart. Okay, for cart code is not ready, so we will we'll just take care of this tomorrow. So delete this. But AMI should be created, so AMI, and it has to go to say that is a create release. And the next one is what is done, and next go with the clone, and so the clone of this one is also to be cart, and then user service, and here also it has to be a user basically. Okay, create a release. But now you will see one problem. You see this AMI creation is going to happen, and so you will see one problem now. What is the problem? Let's see. The cart AMI is already running, isn't it? So the cart AMI, yeah, so it started doing the things, And in the meantime, my user will go and try to do that. So the user will be a failure. So saying that acquiring a lock state is a failure. So why? Because there's another image already happening. But when you made this particular, when you made this particular approach, everything is an individual component. But the AMI part, what you're doing here is, for the AMI, what you're doing here is you're actually putting the state file, and you're using the same state file for everything. So that's where only one component can make the AMI at one time. But ideally, talking about this is not a great idea, right? So because every component is individual, the two components, when the same change, some changes come to the two components at the same time, our code is actually breaking up. Okay, it will not work. So I need to break this, and I need to make it work for. I need to make it break. I need to make it work for in a better way. So how do we do that? Also, we'll see that in the tomorrow session again. Okay. So we have certain problems now. So not certain problems. One problem for now is multi-AMI. Multi-AMI is how to make it work. And the second thing which we have here is if we the target groups are now created. So how do you add your DNS record also and make it work? Basically the diagram to make it work. So we require a DNS name. So the DNS name also, how do we register it automatically? So that part we'll see it in tomorrow session. And once we do that particular one, we'll jump onto the databases and we'll make the databases and we'll make those particular pieces ready. And we can say that our whole application would be ready. Okay, but again, from there we'll see some more problems, and those problems should start addressing with some other tools and some other approaches. We'll go there. Okay, so yeah, that's all from my side for today. Any questions?
Raghu, actually, you said to reset my password to join Azure DevOps set. So I have done that. Even after resetting the password, it was showing the same error.
I doubt actually. Can you try any other laptop which is not your office laptop once?
Okay. So I thought so I can create a new Gmail ID so that you can give permission so that if it works for me.
But still, it's still same, right? You are using the same laptop, no use. End of the day.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, try it in another laptop once and just ping me on WhatsApp after this.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So any other questions? Okay, cool. I'm just updating my destroy pipeline so that it destroys my catalog also along with the other components. 3, let's say that catalog. So that everything will get created in a single, deleted in a single shot. All right. Yeah. So see you in tomorrow's session then. Bye.